At a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, Village of Fredonia duly called and held on 9th day of July 2012 at 7:30 p.m. in the Village Trustees Room, 2nd floor, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York. A public notice at time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media and conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with Section 104 of the Open Meetings Law. Trustee Brown.
Be it resolved in accordance with the provisions of the Village Charter, Trustee Siri is hereby authorized to preside at this meeting in absence of the Mayor.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Whereas members of this board present at this meeting have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of June 25th, 2012, and special meeting of July 3rd, 2012. Now therefore be it resolved, this board approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, and be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Reports.
We have 3 reports tonight. The police report for the month of June 2012, 691 incidences, 33 arrests, 27 vehicle and traffic, and 29 parking tickets.
Received and filed.
Building inspectors reports for the month of April and May. There were total fees in April of $3,889.24, 13 certificates of compliance for commercial fire and safety, 3 certificates of compliance for residential rental property inspections, and a total of 19 building permits issued.
Received and filed.
For the month of May, the building inspector's report indicates $6,829.48 in total fees, 23 building permits issued, 13 certificates of compliance for residential rental property, 9 certificates of compliance for commercial fire and safety inspections. Again, total fees $6,829.48.
Received and filed.
And the final report is the fire department's semi-annual report for the months of January through June. They had a total of 806 calls. 626 were rescue and EMS, 40 good intent calls, 13 service calls, and 18 fires.
Received and filed.
That's
Correspondence.
Okay, correspondence. Correspondence was received from Steve Watterson, Community Relations Director of the Resource Center, on behalf of the 16th Annual Laurel Run, requesting use of various village street corners to sell a special edition of the Observer on Wednesday, July 11th from 6 to 9 a.m., and the use of village streets for the annual Laurel Run flag relay on Friday, July 20th, 2012.
Be it resolved at the request of Steve Watterson, Community Relations Director, on behalf of the 16th Annual Laurel Run, to use various village street corners to sell a special edition of the Observer on July 11, 2012 is hereby approved, subject to the direction of the Fredonia Police Department, and be it further resolved that the volunteers shall take all precautions, including use of group leaders, and the board requests that the volunteers shall stay off the streets and be restricted to the sidewalks, street corners, and be it further resolved that the request to use various village streets for the 2012 Annual Laurel Run on Friday, July 20, 2012 is hereby approved, subject to the direction and escort of the Fredonia Police Department, and the village receiving a certificate in the amount of $1 million, naming the village as an additional insured, which the village has received.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. All right, now it's time to be the public portion. Do I have anyone that would like to address the board?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Hi. My name is Kathy Stager. I live at 3 Middlesex Drive in Fredonia, the house, not the apartments. When my husband and I first considered buying our home, we were drawn to the beauty of the yard as well as the house. It's right downtown, yet it's very private, being on the end of a dead-end street. The backyard is large with old-growth trees, and there is a beautiful creek at the end of the yard with fish, frogs, and crayfish. Over the years, we've had ducks and even several herons spend time in our backyard creek. It's been our pleasure to listen to the neighborhood children squeal as they use the bridge in our yard to catch fish from, and frogs, crayfish, whatnot in the creek. Every summer, our niece from New York City looked forward to splashing in its water. This until 2 years ago, when the creek dried up and became a dry ditch in our yard. Upon further investigation, we, along with other area homeowners, found out that the water for our creek had been diverted to take care of a flooding problem further upstream. We understand this was a significant problem, and we're glad that this remedy has increased the property values upstream. However, we do not wish to have this scar in our backyards. It's unsightly and can be a safety hazard due to the depth. Where it's especially deep, I now have a small pool of stagnant water attractive to the mosquitoes. and those mosquitoes are constantly breeding in my yard. We have since lost a large producing apple tree from our yard, and we have concern over losing our giant willow trees that are decades old, and they're suffering right now. We've emailed Mayor Keefe several times about this situation, and although he's aware of the problem, there's been no movement to rectify this situation. We would like to have enough water diverted back to our creek so that it can be fully enjoyed again. If a Y could be put into the line for this purpose, it would not interfere with the solution for the flooding upstream, and would give us enough water to have a running creek again for all to enjoy. Without this, we feel our property value has dropped due to the unintended consequence of the creation of this unsightly rainwater diversion ditch, which cannot be mown due to its depth. My husband and I, along with our neighbors, respectfully ask that a solution to this problem be considered. We pay very high taxes to live in our neighborhood and feel justified in asking for our creek back.
Thank you. Can we get a copy of that?
Yes, I have copies for all of you.
Can you come over and take a look at it?
Feel free to come over to the house anytime.
Okay.
Okay, there should be copies enough for everyone. If I'm not home,
Do you want
just,
the original, Mrs. Steger?
no, that comes to
Okay.
you. If I'm not home, feel free to walk into the backyard anyway. You just go across the side of the house, and our neighbors are here as well, and I'm sure that anybody would be happy to have you come and take a look in our backyard.
Where did they divert it from? Where was it?
Holmes Place, I believe?
Was it home?
My name is Peter Briggs. I
Yes.
live at 11 Birchwood Drive. The creek runs right through my property, and it's totally dry. It's just a ditch. I went up and investigated last year, the end of Holmes Street. The creek comes down at the end of Holmes Street. They diverted it at that point into a storm sewer. It now goes down Holmes Street, I've been told. Goes down Holmes Street and goes out through the college. From that point, at the end of Holmes Street, there is no water going into the creek. The only time there's water in that creek is when it rains. Okay? And you're certainly welcome, anyone is certainly welcome to come on my property at 11 Birchwood. It's very obvious. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jack, you know anything? You have any input on that?
Mr. Silva?
Charlie Silva, Town of Pomfret. Regarding the water contract that the Town of Pomfret approved last week at a regular special meeting, I'd just like to know what the situation is as far as, has it been signed by the mayor and the supervisor?
We're waiting for your engineers to send us maps to attach.
Oh, okay.
Windows, they called me today, I called them Friday, had a call today. He said hopefully by Wednesday or so they'll send us maps, which are a very important part of the contract. They show where the water lines are gonna go, so I'm waiting that from Wendell. And as soon as we get those, then we put the contracts together, give it another review to make sure it's all in order. And then if everything's in order, they'll be signed.
So would you be able to give me an estimated time you think that would happen? So, you know, we believe it's quite urgent.
It depends when we get the maps from your engineers.
If you can put a fire under Wendell.
By the way, just curious, have you received your water supply permit from DEC?
I'm no longer on the board, I couldn't tell you that, I don't know if they have it or
If
not.
that's essential to starting anything.
Has it been applied for?
I believe the only thing we were waiting for was the agreement from the village and the town for the water permit, or water agreement that they would have a water supplier. But I can't speak for the supervisor or for the board. But the urgency that we have for this, that we as residents of the district and as a past board member for the town of Pomfret, is the fact that our funding, again, is in jeopardy if we do not get some, movement on it. So I know that it's a little more urgent for some than others, but I would hope that, you guys and you, Sam, would help move this forward so that
We're ahead of it. We're ahead of the game. We've got the contracts tight. There were some typos, clarifications, but
Well, I guess that's what I was looking for. I mean, it's ready to be signed is what you're telling me.
yeah, I think it's basically ready to be signed.
Without the map.
Jeff is, well, Jeff's got to see there's some typos, some word clarifications that we were authorized to make to the contract. But as far as getting it signed, we need those maps from Wendell Engineering first. So you might want to call them. I talked to them today. They
The
said
map
they
plan
should-
review, are you speaking of, or are you talking
The
about?
maps that show where the 8-inch water lines will be laid, what roads they'll be laid in, and how long they are.
Are them all town roads we're talking about?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we are.
Anyone else? Tina, Jack, John? Okay. Resolutions,
Can we
trustee
ask?
Brown.
Let's see. Be it resolved that the village pay $4,881 for its annual 2012-2013 membership dues, New York State Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officers. And that's all I have.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Be resolved that the sum not to exceed an additional $4,000 is authorized to be paid to Jekyll Fleshman and McGill LLP for services for special counsel regarding a grievance.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Be resolved that Colby Adamowitz, Lowell Place, Fredonia, Adam Korzaneski, Fredonia, Just Ricotta, also Fredonia, and Heather Zimba of Fredonia are hereby hired as seasonal laborers to work the Department of Public Works at an hourly rate of $7.50 effective immediately, subject to civil service rules and regulations and whether benefits to be given.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Be it resolved that Samuel Zafudo III is hereby appointed Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics for a term beginning July 16, 2012, ending January 2013, and be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized on behalf of the village to sign the notification of appointment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Be it resolved that the training request of Robert Lancaster, Chief Operator of the Water Filtration Plant, to attend the Edwin C. Tiff Jr. Water Supply Symposium in Syracuse, New York, September 19th through 20th, 2012, is hereby approved at a cost not to exceed $550.50. This conference is sponsored by the New York Section American Water Works Association and will give Mr. Lancaster required hours of training.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Whereas specifications have been prepared for a new emergency medical care vehicle for the Fredonia Fire Department, and whereas the Board of Trustees desires to purchase a new emergency medical care vehicle for the Fredonia Fire Department and approves the specifications. Now therefore it be resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of said vehicle. Said bids shall be returnable no later than July 26, 2012 at 2 p.m., at which the time the bids will be publicly open and read aloud in the conference room 1, first floor at Fredonia Village Hall, Fredonia, New York. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees reserves the right to reject any and all bids or to accept the bid most advantageous to the village of Fredonia.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Be resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to advertise for sealed bids for a new salt storage building for the Village of Fredonia Department of Public Works according to specifications on file in the clerk's office. Said bids to be returnable on Wednesday, August 8th, 2012 at 10 a.m. at the village clerk's office, 9-11 Church Street, Fredonia, New York, at which time sealed bids will be publicly open and read aloud in conference room 1 at Village Hall, first floor. The Board of Trustees reserves the right to reject any and all bids and to accept the bid at any bid alternatives that deemed most advantageous to the Village of Fredonia.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Do we have anything else for agenda this evening? I have two. This is for the playgrounds and for the kids, primarily and their parents. I know it's been extremely hot, and I had a discussion with Jack Schwartz, our recreation director, and one thing that we would like to make sure that the kids have water with them when it gets to a temperature over 85 degrees or in excess. The playgrounds will close if the heat temperature is over 95 for risk of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. So just want to make sure that the parents are aware of that. Secondly, I hate doing this because one thing that Mayor Pagano always told me is you never get in a fight with a company that has a million rolls of paper and gallons of ink. But on July 1st, the paper wrote an article about the village of Fredonia of how does a rehire control expenses. If you don't mind me reading it real quick, and I want to give our explanation. Why are government costs and taxes out of control in Western New York? look right in your backyard and see how the Village of Fredonia approved rehiring a clerk at a rate of $20.38 per hour. Clerk worked part-time at $20.38 per hour, and not only will the worker collect the rate per hour, but she also will collect a pension on top of whatever she does for the Village of Fredonia. Sounds like a bargain? Sure, the worker, especially when an area resident continues to shell out some of its most money in the nation when it comes to paying taxes. Well, as a senior board member for the village, one thing that we do is we do support our employees and this board. And I don't like to see misinformation being sent out in the paper, especially when it's our employees and the village board. A couple facts that is stated in this: that we hired a clerk back at $20.38 an hour. That is correct. The reason is that we have a payroll clerk retiring and a water and sewer clerk retiring on June 11th. At this current time, we have 3 full-time employees in the clerk's office, and that includes our administrator, Rick St. George. So they've been very, very cooperative with our residents and also with the other employees in this organization. So I got to give Rick and his staff credit, but the individual that we're replacing or that we hired back was a salary clerk, or excuse me, our payroll clerk. And our payroll clerk does many, I want to say, reports to the state of New York that is mandated by the state of New York, and that includes your pension costs and taxes associated with it. That individual that we're rehiring, will be quarterly, maybe 1 day a week, and maybe 4 hours a day, if that. And that equals about $328 for the year. So it's kind of misleading in their opinion page. I don't like mentioning that, and I guess for the village board, we should have had the foresight of seeing 2 individuals that are 30-plus year employees retire, that we reduce, that yes, we are going to rehire. We reduced our staff from 6.5 employees now down to 3.5 employees, 4.5 employees in that office. And I guess what my point is in April when we were doing our budget, I guess we should have had a tax increase for the $328 increase that we're going to be paying the 30-year plus an employee. I apologize to the residents that we do have to hire this person, but it's a person that we cannot, that we rehired, that we need training on. So if you have any questions for the board members, our phone number's in the book, but that's our explanation, and I'm sticking to it.
Or online. They're online.
Or online. So that being said, do I have an adjournment for this meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Got it.
Aye.
Hi.